management system. And we'll get into what all that means, what it's used for. And if you're returning building coordinator, then this is kind of just a refresher for you. Get back into the system, get back into the swing of things. It's been about a few months probably since you've been in there, although you might have been in there looking at your 2014 ISRs, doing some printing, maybe just some checking around. So like I said, it's a little bit of a refresher today, and we'll go over kind of the ins and outs of TOMS. I'm going to do some introductions. The talking head on this is I am Rebecca Rabin-Reed. I'm the client manager for the SAWS program here in Wyoming, or I'm actually in California. I also have on the line Lauren Hebert. She's our program director for PAWS and SAWS.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Lauren. So the magic of the internet, as I said, am in California. Lauren is in New Jersey, and all of you are in different parts of Wyoming. So it's a pretty neat and cool tool, and we're very excited to have you all here today with us viewing our webcast. So as you can see, we are in GoToMeeting, and just to familiarize some of you with some of the features of GoToMeeting, you can ask a question and you can put it in the question box, and Lauren or one of my other colleagues in New Jersey will either get back to you or pose the question live for us to go over through the training. You can always raise your hand. I see some people asking questions, raising their hand. And then we can see whose hand is raised and then unmute you if you have a detailed question that we just can't quite translate through through the question box. So Lauren, let's see, are there any questions in there? Oh, so
Yep.
so Ruth, so Lauren put out a notice to everyone just to say if you have questions, put them in the question box there, and we'll get to you and get through those during our question answer period.
And if I also can just add, Rebecca, we
Sure.
are recording this session. So if you have colleagues, both that you work with in your actual building or just colleagues around the state that you know for a fact were not able to attend today's session, the actual recording of the file will be posted on the WDE website, and you'd be able to access that, which would be both a live audio file with the slides and this entire recorded training presentation. So you're welcome to let folks know that that's an option as well. And nope, I would say I don't think of anything else. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Lauren. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our agenda today for TOMS. Let's move it forward here. So we just went through the welcome. We're going to go over what is TOMS. We are going to give you some key dates for building coordinators and things to remember for 2015. Just things to remember, nothing crazy new, don't worry. And user roles and responsibilities, and then we're going to actually go into the TOMS system and run through some of those pages and what it looks like, the functions, and what you can do, and what it looks like. So I'm going to keep going. So what is TOMS? So it's the Test Operations Management System, and it houses the student demographic data for PAWS and SAWS, assessments, and houses and tracks test materials, orders, and supplemental orders. So those of you who have been in there, you know you can go in and look at your students, look at their demographic data. You can go in and track your materials. We'll show you how to track your materials. You can always go in yourself, and once they are shipped, you can look at the FedEx shipping number. Oh, I believe, sorry, we use UPS. the UPS shipping number, and then once they come back to us, you can also go in and verify that they've been sent back to us. So that's TOMS in a nutshell. We refer to it mostly always as TOMS. Test Operations Management System gets a little lengthy. So that's what we'll be talking about. So TOMS, so key dates for building coordinators, and this is for 2015. The student demographic data is available for review starting November 26th. So it's up and running, and if you have not been in there, we suggest getting in there, checking out some of your student data, and then January 26th is the deadline for all new students that need to be added to TOMS, and also to update any demographic information as well that needs to be entered into TOMS. So what this will do is create a pre-ID label for all your new students that we do not have currently within TOMS. And then any demographic changes also will be captured at this time as well. And we'll be sending reminders out before January 26th to make sure to get in there and correct any data that needs to be updated or add any students that you now have. So I'm going to be going over the user roles and responsibilities. So this is district and building coordinators. We have in TOMS, and this is how we sort of track you. And this is how we stay up to date with you and who you are, where we can contact you, who we call. So there is one district coordinator per district, and there is one primary building coordinator. So you can have multiple building coordinator users, and those users will have all the functions of a building coordinator. However, we need to have a primary building coordinator checked off for contact, for shipping, all of that sort of information. Otherwise, it gets a little bit shuffled and we don't know who to call, who to contact. So just make sure, we try and make sure that it's checked off in TOMS, a primary. You can also edit student demographic data, as well as transfer students, and like I said before, track shipments. So here's some information to remember for 2015. The supplemental order process for 2015 is as it was in 2014. You need to call our Wyoming customer support line, and here's the number, here's the email, and they will place orders on your behalf. And it's okay to email us, just tell us what you need. If there's any questions, a customer service rep will get back to you and say, hey, what happened? What do you need? Is this right? Do you need 50 Braille? Or was that a typo?
And Rebecca,
so, yeah.
I would also just remind folks that that's a really handy phone number to keep around for virtually anything that you might also have either concerns about, if it's not just exclusively TOMS and or if it's not just your order or your supplemental order. But they are a dedicated Wyoming customer support call center for the state of Wyoming and the PAWS and SAWS testing program. So they are generally our first line, and should you have any concerns or questions and something's not going the way that you thought it should be, you can start with them and they'll generally get either your answer completely answered, or they'll escalate to Rebecca or myself and we'll pursue it on our end.
Very good point, Lauren. We advertise this phone number and this email address over and over and over again. So again, please use it for any question you have. And here's just a reminder of your hardware software requirements for using TOMS. And you can go check that out. And this year there's no new changes to TOMS. So last year we had some changes that were going on, and this year TOMS is as it was last year. So simple, easy to use. Most building coordinators, district coordinators are able to use it very easily, and we like to hear that. And so make sure to refresh your login credentials. If you're having problems with logging in, again, call our customer support line and they'll issue you a new password if that's what you need, or if you're a new user, give us a call and we'll get you set up. So this is also a reminder for 2015 that TOMS is not the official demographic database tool for school accountability. That comes on over on what is called the WDE 684 file. And once that's submitted to the WDE, that serves as the demographic database. And so you want to make sure and double check that student status with a person who submits that file to WDE, and make sure your students are all accounted for. And then also this year, the ALT assessments, so there was PAWS ALT and SAWS ALT last year, is no longer provided through ETS and is not tracked in TOMS. So you will not see ALT students within TOMS for 2015. So with that, I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions that we can get to before we go ahead and log into the actual TOMS system. Lauren, is there anything we should call out?
Sorry, Rebecca. No, but what I do want to say, and I'm glad you prompted me, is that thanks everyone for posting questions. So we're going to keep Rebecca going. And I am now also answering questions as they come in on the question, I think you call it like a chat board, in your question panel. Thank you. So, and if it's in fact relevant to what we're talking about, we'll interrupt Rebecca and go accordingly. So far, I'm able to just answer all these questions. One comment, though, I want to make is this webinar is not going to be covering anything related to the ALT programs this year. And that was a change WDE made, and for the 2015 testing window, ALT is going to be handled completely differently than the PAWS and SAWS process. So ALT is not going to be handled through the TOMS portal for ordering your materials, and the information about the ALT portal and process would be all on the WDE website.
Thanks, Lauren. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and log into TOMS. So in this presentation, I have slides that go through screen by screen, but what I am going to do is just go into TOMS and log in as a building coordinator. And I'm just going to take you through the screens as we go. So that's fine. So I'm logged in as a building coordinator. And the first place you are going to see is what's called a dashboard. And here I can post announcements to you, and you can check this dashboard either before, during, or after the administration. If we send out email announcements through the TOMS site, the announcements will be here as well. Also, we'll get to that later, but so here is the dashboard. Here's your profile up here. This goes to the WDE portal, and this is the help portal, which now houses a user guide for TOMS. And I'm going to go back to the dashboard. So I just want to make a quick note. So the TOMS system that I'm currently in is what we would call a preview site. So this is not the operational site that you will go into as a building coordinator. It's a sample site. So all the data in here is just sample data. And so the actual operational site may vary just a touch here and there, only because this is all fake data. So we can give you a run-through of all the tabs and the pages and what's available and how to do it. All right, so here is your dashboard. Again, all news and announcements will be posted here. Order status, we have an order status tab. And this makes it quick and easy for building coordinators to go in, click on your order status tab, and you can see where all of your materials are. You don't even need to go to the order tab on this side. It's just all right here on your dashboard. And you can see we already have some materials in here for sites. And then also here you can see student transfers. So if you have been transferring students, you don't need to go into the student tab and look it up. Where did I put them? What happened? I need to find this kid. Anytime you transfer a student, they're going to show up on your dashboard as well under Student Transfer tab. And we did some transferring of some fake kids, so you can see them here. So organizations, if you're a building coordinator and you have multiple sites, you will see that here. So I'm listed as a building coordinator, and I have multiple sites. So I'm going to go in here, and you can see here, this is where we house your mailing address as well as your shipping address. So please note that we cannot hold PO boxes for the shipping address. We have to have a physical address for shipping. And you can edit here. The edit tool is this pencil right here. Your trash can is always delete. And then we'll go over to users. You can see the building coordinator is the title of the user. And this is my colleague, Lisa. And this is her role. Oh, she put her name as building coordinator. And you'll be able to see this when you go in if you need to update any users or your shipping or mailing address. So I'm going to move on here to students. Sorry, I'm just getting my notes together. And you can see here you can view and edit students. You can do this in various different ways. You can search by first name, last name, or Wiser ID. For me, when I search for students, I always use Wiser ID. It's kind of the cleanest, easiest, fastest way to get to specific students that I want. Or you can search by grade, by test admin. So I'm going to select my site, which I'm working in Ash Grove Elementary. And don't worry if you're from Ash Grove Elementary. This is all fake data. None of your kids will show up. And I'm going to choose an admin. And in here, all you will see is 2015 PAWS, 2015 SAWS. And so this, I can search for all my kids. And TOMS is working. You can see over here, I want to call out this box here. Special forms. You can always search students based on special forms. So if you're not sure if they've been assigned a special form, you can search here for the students with all audio, all braille, all large print, and Spanish audio as well. And so here are all my kids at Ash Grove, and you can see here we got a little creative with some students' names. And again, the pencil, you can view and edit. So let's go into view and edit students. So from the 684 file, we have received all of this demographic information about your students. So we have the student Wiser ID, their name, date of birth, ethnicity, gender, and the homeschooled, free lunch, you can edit this information if you need to. And here is at the top is what you'll see for the basic layout. So if you just kind of read it over really quick. And then other student info, we just have their grade here, and do they need a special form? You can designate that right here as well. And then we get to school information. And so here you can see for this student, we've transferred this student already. So this student, the school location is at Ash Grove Elementary, and the testing location is over here at the charter school. And you can see how many moves the student has made, one move. So this is where you would transfer students if they're at a different school location or a different testing location. And we will get to that a little bit later as well. So I'm going to go back to my results. Since I didn't change anything, I don't need to save anything. And before we transfer a student, I want to call out this test location roster. And so you can pull rosters from the TOMS system of your students. Students enrolled at your school, students testing at your school, and testing at other schools. So that would be students enrolled at your school and then testing at another location. And so I'm going to choose a student that I know I have yet to transfer. And over here is the transfer button. And it pops up, transfer. So here I have the option to transfer this student. I can transfer the student's school location, I can transfer the student's testing location, or I can transfer both. You can transfer a student within your district. And then I go next, and I have to enter the name the student is going to, and that would be, let's see if this works, if I have it right. So we're transferring the student, and then you can come up with your own transfer reasons. We came up with different ones we just made up. Preferred school. You don't have to enter it if you don't want. And then we hit submit. And so we get a screen here that says transfer successful. And it shows us everything that we did. And we can close it out. And I can go back to my dashboard if I want to. And I can go to student transfers. And I can see him right here that I transferred him. I'm going to go back to the student tab. And now I want to go to add a student. You will have students that will come into your school after you have submitted your 684 file. So this is where you would add those students to receive a pre-ID label. So you have to select their test admin and their Wiser ID. It's a 7-digit number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And their first name, last name, date of birth. This can get tricky. And their ethnicity, gender, oops, select migrant, no. Continue. Whoops, 8 digits, not 7. So you can see I made a mistake. The system won't accept it if you're missing data or you have an invalid data. So the invalid data here was the Wiser ID. And I'm going to select her grade. And she does not need a special form. Continue. So I have to select a school. And I have to select a testing location. She's at the same place. And now save. And we get this pop-up that we have successfully added the student. We have an Edit Reasons tab here. This is for you if you want to add an edit reason just to keep track. I personally don't use it much. So then I'm going to move it to orders. And again, I'm going to select my program. So you would either choose PAWS or SAWS. And your list isn't as lengthy as mine because I'm in a test site. And my order type, I'm going to select the order. And you can also select form, regular test form or special form if you want to search that way. And if you have multiple sites, you can look at, let's see, you can search. So I searched for CY Junior High. Here is my initial regular order. This will be a view, so I can check out my order here. Here's all of the shipping information. Here's who it is going to, the building coordinator. And here's the order. And you can see you're getting a building coordinator kit, you're getting the DFAs, grade 5 scoring guides, grade 7 scoring guides. You can also see the quantity over here. So if you look in TOMS and you look into your initial order and you know that you will be needing more materials, you can call the 800 number, it's not 800, but our customer service number, and request more materials through them. And they can get you exactly what you need. So I'm going to go back here, my original search. And I'm back to my initial order, initial regular, you can see here. If I want to see my supplemental order, oh, that's type. I got to go over to supplemental. See, now I can see both. I put in a supplemental earlier for my school, test it out. But what I want to call out here is this little floating balloon with an X in it. This will track your order. So if you don't know where your order is, you can call us and we'll get online with you and we'll get to tracking. The neat thing about this site is that you can track your materials right here. So here it shows the UPS tracking number out to your site. So tracking to school and then tracking to ETS. So once you send your materials back to us, we can also track that number and know it'll show up here when we've received your materials. So I'm going to click on this to show you that it pulls up the UPS website right then and there. I think it's a pretty cool feature. Lauren, I'm going to just pause for a second just in case we have any questions before I get to reports.
Yeah, we do. Thanks, Rebecca. I've been typing fast and furiously, and so thanks again to everyone that is posting the questions. And a couple of common questions I'm getting that I'll just answer globally is there's a lot of information about when ETS receives the 684 file from WDE and what kind of updates do we get from Wyoming after. So the state uses the information they get, I believe, in a September time frame, but then take a lot of time on their end with Infusion to work with the data before they send it to us. We actually get that 684 file in November, but that's not necessarily a November cut of the data. It was done, I believe, sometime before that. We do not then receive any additional information after the November file upload from WDE, which is why it is equally important to you all here that you then update that file as it relates to your particular school or your district before January 26th. So again, that is the whole point and the objective of the demographic window opening, is that we would then be getting any of these new updates from you directly into TOMS from when we had the uploaded file back in November of 2014. So that was one common question. Rebecca, a couple of people have asked, is it possible if you can expand your screen? I know that I'm on the maximum, and I think you can try, but I think that's going to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go back to...
I am.
So again, those of you that have trouble with the screen, it tends to be a monitor by monitor situation, and you just need to play with some settings on your particular monitor. One question also that I thought was really relevant, and we've seen people post, is what do they do when there's more than one building coordinator at a particular school? And I don't know if you were able to demonstrate that, but when you were in the organization, that they would need to designate one of said building coordinators as the primary contact. So there can only be one primary contact designated per school, even though you might have more than one logins associated as a building coordinator role. And I don't know if you wanted to go and demo that.
No, we don't have a double coordinator at our schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what this other question was.
Rosters are coming with pre-ID labels.
Right. And when you get, folks are asking about when they get their rosters, and those will come when they actually get their pre-ID labels. And thank you, Carol Dowdy. Yes, the October 1st. That's the poll. I knew it was sometime before November 14th. So we don't have any additional or changed or new information after that October 1st from the 684 snapshot that the WDE gave. We don't upload it until November, but it was that October 1st snapshot. Thank you. And so I'll continue to answer questions online, and I think we're good. And also, if I may, once we conclude the formal part of the slides, I will be migrating over to the panel where people can raise their hand. And if you raise your hand, I will unmute you. And then when we get into the formal Q&A session slide that Rebecca will have up, that's when you would then use the hand raising function in our webinar platform to indicate that I will unmute you so you can ask Rebecca the question.
Okay.
Okay,
thanks.
I'm done.
So I wanted to, so I don't know if we have any private schools that are currently on with us today, but I did want to call out for private schools. They will need to add, sorry, I went to the wrong screen. They will need to individually add each of their students into TOMS to receive the pre-ID label. So I just wanted to call out that really quickly in case anybody is on from a private school, that we do not receive your information from the 684 file, so therefore it's not held in TOMS because it's a new file each year. So unfortunately for private schools, you will need to go into TOMS, individually enter each of your students who will be testing for PAWS or SAS. So I wanted to mention that before we moved on. And okay, so we went to orders. There's all of my orders. And just in case you weren't able to see, under order test form, you'll see supplemental or initial special, which is special forms, or initial regular. So those will be your shipments. and you can view and track those here. This is a status, and this means it's in transit. But I would always just check over here, and it'll take you to the UPS site if there's a UPS number. So if you think you should be receiving materials and you don't have a UPS number on within TOMS for any materials, definitely give us a call, and we can see what's going on. So this brings me to our last tab in TOMS for building coordinators and district coordinators, and this is under reports. And I just have to say again, since I'm in a test site, we don't have any reports for 2015 because we made up all the data. So we don't have a ISR to show you or a report to create because it's all just fake data. But we do have fake data from 2014, and so I'll go through that right here. So if you want your ISRs, let me go into test admin, let's do pause, and where, so here we go. So big thanks to Fremont and Ashgrove for being my guinea pigs today. So we can go into here, we can select our district, we can select our schools, or we can select all the schools, and we can select, make sure I'm on pause, what grade we want to see, and then here, hold down Control to select multiple grades. We already have a report in here, but I'm going to go ahead and generate a report. Whoops, I need to name it. And here's my pop-up. The ISR PDFs have been successfully generated. Reports take up to 30 minutes to process. So you can close that here. And here's the status bar. Let me try and scroll down. So here you can see the status, and again, this means it's working. This means it's done working, complete. And you can see the number of PDFs I have in here are none, and that number will be accurate once this is complete. So you can check out your ISRs, download, which I would then have to download to my system, and then you can pull up a PDF of your ISRs. You can trash it if you want. If you don't want that report anymore sitting there, you can trash it if you want. Or you can regenerate it. And that is how you would generate a report, or the PDFs for your student scores, for ISRs, I should say. So that is TOMS. And I'm going to pause there.
Question about special forms.
Yeah.
We went ahead and answered it in the panel, but I thought it was worth sharing. And one of our attendees just wanted to clarify that if the student has been indicated to receive special forms, then you are correct in safely assuming that those special forms have been pre-ordered, and you would not need to order those separately or in addition. So just wanting to confirm, and that was worthy, I thought, for others to know, that you do not have to indicate anything different or otherwise.
Right. All right. So if we're done with TOMS, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation and kind of scroll through to where I want to be, since we did all of this. tracking and reports. And here is all of our contact information. So give us a call, send us an email. Below is the WDE's contact information if you have any questions specific for the WDE.
And I'll go ahead and answer this question right now, but I wanted to mention another question that's come up is if you have new building coordinators that did not receive either a district verification form or had a previous coordinator's login credentials, that too would be a reason to just go ahead and give our call center a call, and they will then get you established and get you set up with what you'll need. But we also just had a question in the panel that is a great question for everyone to hear. When is the deadline to request the special education supplemental materials or any supplemental materials? So our supplemental window for PAWS opens February 2nd and closes March 15th. So again, that was the supplemental window that Rebecca referenced in an earlier slide. And if you were needing supplemental materials for SAWS, that window opens March 25th. So again, February 2nd for PAWS and March 25th for SAWS is the actual window in which you can go ahead and order those supplemental materials.
And April 24th for SAWS
Closes, right. I think I don't have any other outstanding questions, and I will post those dates that I just mentioned verbally right now in the window pane.
Okay.
So everyone can benefit from that.
All right. And our next slide is just questions. So again, if you have questions about TOMS functions, about what goes into TOMS, how to navigate TOMS, let us know, and we can go back and look at anything in there that you want right now. Or if you have any general administration questions, go ahead and ask. I'll just give it a few minutes.
Rebecca, can you remind us how to get to the TOMS website? It's off the WDE website, correct? The link?
Right. Yeah. We have it on the WDE website. We also have it on our ETS website.
So if for someone who's looking to get the actual TOMS website, the best way to navigate is start with the actual WDE assessment page specifically, and then you would navigate through there about needing to order your materials, and you'll be brought right to TOMS. I'll also make sure and circle back with the WDE folks to confirm it's very visible and easy to get to off the WDE assessment page. Rebecca, we do have a request if you could go through in TOMS specifically on how to actually pull up the student list or student roster, specifically roster again.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem. So here is TOMS again. I'm going to the student tab, and I will go, this is just the view and edit. It just comes up as soon as you go to the student tab. You're right in that first screen. And you can search by student. Let's see, let me get to an organization. It's easier that way. So once I have my organization, once I have my school basically, this pops up here, test location roster. And you can find students that are enrolled at your school. So I'm going to do it specifically by grade just to an admin to make it go faster because we will be sitting here looking at all this. And it's actually a report that will come up. You can download it. I believe it comes in a CSV file. So here are all my students at Ash Grove that are enrolled at my school for the 2015 pause. And so here they all are. I can search this way, but I can also hit this button here, download search results. And you can see it wants to save it to my folder, and it does come up as a CSV file. And you can name it here if you want. You don't have to have student search. That's just the general name for it. So I can save it here. Let's see. And then pull it up. I'll have to pull it over so you guys can see this as well. And let me pull this over here. So this is what it looks like. Are you able to see that? Yeah, your name, Lauren?
Yep, definitely. Very good.
Okay. Okay. So that's what it'll look like.
Yep.
As your roster. And then I think what's a good tool is, testing at another school. I don't know if I transferred any kids from the school somewhere else. We'll see. Oh, here we go. So this student is enrolled at my school and testing at another school, right here. And you can download that the same way. Is that good? Are there any other questions about that?
Sorry, Rebecca. I am typing right now as an answer the actual website specifically for TOMS. But I wanted to echo Emily over at the WDE office. And again, on that assessment page, if you go on the section for educators and hover over the for educators, you would see then the link to, it will be called Online Management Ordering System. And I'm typing the web address right now in the box of the question panel.
Here, let me see here.
I don't need the www. Is that what you just said?
No, just not the period at the end of the sentence.
So here is, I'm going to put this on this screen, see if I can get it any bigger. This is ETS's site, www.wyedu.ets.org. And right over here, you can sign into TOMS. So that's ETS's site.
And Rebecca, if you would just highlight up at the top your web address
that I
just typed in, which again is that.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. So if people wanted to be writing that down or make reference to it. Another question, by the way, that I had just answered in the question panel, but bears repeating is the user manual for our TOMS system is actually available via the Help tab. Once you're actually in TOMS, you can access our user manual via the Help tab. And if that's going to, again, review and go through the functionality very much similar to what Rebecca's covered here today. Yep. That date is wrong. That was just recently uploaded.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the testing, but it's the 2015 manual. So couple of questions coming in that I'll type as well, but I just figured I can. Again, the concept of push and pull, Rebecca, we continue to get people posting questions. And if we can, again, just reiterate that the specific functionality from what we used to do in previous versions of TOM push-pull no longer exists. And instead, what we have is a transfer functionality. But that transfer functionality only exists within district. And so if you are needing to transfer out of district, then that is simply a completely add new student process and you don't actually do the transfer functionality. So again, transfer has replaced push-pull, which Rebecca demoed for us here, and that is only good within district. And if you have a transfer out of district, you would go ahead and add and delete functionality. And also the recording for this training session will be posted also on the WDE assessment page. And Rebecca, I would say as I'm still continuing to see some answers come through the panel, if you have any raised hands under the attendee panel, go ahead and you can just probably unmute them yourself if you want to engage with anyone asking a live question.
Let's see. I don't have any raised hands. No, I currently don't have any raised hands.
Okay, so I'm going to again just read this question. If I'm not going to be able to keep typing so fast. All the questions that we still have remaining that people are posting are related to transfers and both district and out of district. So I'm just wondering, maybe we want to go through that again just so people can see what to do.
So as Lauren said, we eliminated last year the push-pull feature from district to district for students. It got quite complicated, and as building coordinators, I'm sure you understood fully the complication because you needed to then call the other district coordinator, tell them to pull and then push. And so we then got rid of that feature within TOMS because it was, for lack of a better term, mucking up a lot, not a lot, but mucking up the student data. And so to keep it cleaner, what we did is we allow students to be transferred within your district. So if you have a student within your district at school A going over to school B, you can transfer those kids. So if they're going to another district. So they've moved out of your district and you will not be testing them. What you will need to do is go ahead and delete the student out of TOMS with the trash can feature. The next district that the student is incoming to will either need to add the student to their district and school site in TOMS, or they can come in as a straight walk-in. And when we refer to walk-ins, we mean students that have all hand-gridded demographic data on their answer document or student tab, the test answer book. So let me see if I can just delete a kid. Oh, bananas. Why won't my kids come up? Okay, so here are my kids. Oops, I don't want to transfer this. So in this, do we not have the trash can in the test site, Lisa?
I lost where you were, Rebecca, but I wanted to clarify.
Sorry.
We've been using the word delete a lot for when students move out of state or leave the district. The critical functionality is for the new receiving district or the new receiving school is to add the new student. Because
True.
there is no transfer out of district and there's no push-pull anymore, if you have a new student that came from a different district or out of state, you need to add that student.
Mm-hmm.
For a district that is now sending that student away out of state or sending to another district, you wouldn't necessarily have the rights in TOMS to delete. And we actually did that intentionally because we didn't want mistakes inadvertently to happen where building coordinators were, by mistake, deleting students that shouldn't be deleted. So what you would do is if a student has left your district and you want to report that, you would let us know, and you can do that via the call center by just sending the students on the Excel spreadsheet to the Wyoming support email list. You don't have to get on the phone or wait in a call queue, and you can just send that to us, and then we can verify that the new student has been added by the receiving district and do that cleanup for you. And Rebecca, we did have a request to go through the orders tab again.
Okay. So here is my orders tab. And since I am the designated building coordinator for all of these sites, all of my sites have popped up. I have 229 orders. So what you can do is you can search, or you can just click, if you see it right here, what you're looking for. Go ahead and just select it. And I need to go up here. So I'm going to choose an administration, so I'm choosing pause. I'm going to choose so I want to see the orders for CY Junior High for pause. And here on the screen, you can see here is your order for initial special, and I'll take a look at this since we looked at just initial regular last time. So this is for pause, and you can see these are math CDs for grade 8, and we're shipping 1. This is the science CD for grade 8, and there's the quantity here. This is Braille. Here's the, sorry, I'm skipping up. Here's the answer documents. And here's the large type. And reading as well, of just the general version 1. So this is where you will see your orders. So I'm going to go back. So that was initial special. Here's initial regular. And you can see how many answer documents you're getting for your 6th through 8th graders. And a return envelope, your coordinator kits, and how many DFAs you'll receive. The test and answer books for grades 3 through 5. And here's math, here's reading, and those are your test booklets. And your return labels. And this is all your quantity. And here, up here, is where we're shipping to, the address. So just make sure that's not a P.O. box. This little floaty bubble, or balloon, over here is where you can specifically track each order. And you can see here, tracking number. Here's your UPS tracking number, item count, date it was shipped. And I can just click on this UPS link and head over to the UPS page and go ahead and track it. And I won't track it here because it doesn't exist anymore. So I'll get an error page. And that is pretty much orders. And again, all supplemental orders need to be ordered through the customer service line. And you can see this is the supplemental order type. And I put one in originally, and these are my supplemental orders. Anything else about orders or how to track them?
What if, on the homeschool students, Rebecca, a question that just came in, so if a homeschool student is testing at their particular school or site, then that building coordinator needs to add that homeschool student to their order and or roster, correct? Or is that wrong?
I think they should be there.
They should be there. Okay. So, correct. Thank you. So the student who is designated as a homeschooler should already be in the roster. If they are not, then there's been some sort of a change that the 684 file did not know about, and you would need to add them.
Right, exactly.
Right. But you should not have to add them manually. They should be known. So only if they are not there, then you also, when you do add them, just need to designate their school of accountability versus their testing site.
Exactly. Exactly. And then also check with whoever manages your 684 file to the WDE, because they will need to add them there as well for next year.
Right.
I'm afraid to answer this question now.
Any other questions we should address?
No, everyone's just reaffirming again that process around the transfer functionality. So again, I think we're just going to stick with what we've been saying. You want to let us know via email on any changes to the roster that we can clean up. It's ideal if there's direct coordination between the two districts directly, and then students need to be added to that new district once we get everything cleaned up, which we'd be doing in real time at the call center. If they go through the call center, they will be doing that.
Exactly.
And so again, back to the homeschoolers, if in fact they're not on the state 684, then yes, you would need to go ahead and add them.
Right.
So I don't have any other outstanding questions I haven't answered. And I'm going to also just scan, and I don't see any hands raised. To answer Pete, yes. Again, any changes to any students as far as moving, status, demographic information since October 1st, you would need to reflect those changes in TOMS, or else they would not have a pre-ID label.
Right.
A question that's now the second time it's come up is people are requesting to share building coordinator information, and that would be a question I suggest you all pose to the WDE directly. That wouldn't be something that we could handle or agree upon. This is a case in which we're just the vendor on behalf of WDE, but that would be something as a suggestion I recommend if people want to do that, that you bring that up to the WDE directly and facilitate that with them.
Okay, I'm going to give everybody a minute or two to type any last questions that we have not addressed regarding TOMS for today. You can always contact us after. We will be posting this webinar. We will also be posting the slides. And So I'm just going to wait 1 minute, and then I think we can wrap it up and save you everybody about an hour. Nothing coming in? I don't see anything.
Nope.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to thank everybody very much for your time. Thank you for your awesome questions. Those were really good and always adds to any presentation that we're doing to address everything that we may and or may have not forgotten along the way. So thanks again, and we will be talking and seeing you guys soon. Just a save the date. We will be holding building coordinator workshops at the end of January. That would be the 27th over in Afton and the 29th in Casper, I believe. And I believe we're holding 2 sessions in Casper in the morning and the afternoon. So be on the lookout. We will be sending more information about that coming.
And
that will,
Afton as well will have 2 sessions.
And Afton will have 2 sessions as well. Thanks. And so, yes, be on the lookout for all of that information coming your way. And those will be live and in person. You will see Lauren and myself. And that's all I wanted to say. Lauren, anything else?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
It's going to be good.
It's
going to be good.
One last question, Rebecca, that came through.
Yeah.
Is if a student has changed grade level, is that an edit that a building coordinator can make on their end? I actually don't recall.
I believe a building coordinator can make that.
They can change, right? That grade? Yes. So, Marilyn, you would be able to go ahead and change that on the edit side. If I'm mistaken, then just get the call center on the phone, and they can do it for you. James Stewart, to again reiterate those dates for the building coordinator trainings, it is January 27th on the western part of the state in Afton, and then January 29th in Casper. And we will be covering pretty much everything but TOMS. So we'll be going through the materials that you receive, the testing procedures, the shipping and packing, the way in which that you send the materials back to ETS, everything essentially a building coordinator would need to know, and also get you motivated to then leave that training to conduct your test administrator or proctor training. So again, those sessions are January 27th in Afton, 2 sessions morning and afternoon, and then again being repeated January 29th in Casper. Those are live trainings in which that you would register and physically come to that site. However, we will record one of the 4 sessions. That would be a video recording that the WDE will then have posted up on their website after the session.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I will let everybody go, and thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, guys.